third category. So this is the third category of people that are being talked about. Allah says subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, and out of the people there are those, مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ, is the one who says, we've come to believe in Allah. Now there's some very interesting language here. You could say, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ الَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ, because nas is ism jama', you can say الَّذِينَ. But man is used particularly here to say something very special. I'll highlight that in a little bit inshallah. From the people there is the one who says, now when I say the one who says, what is that? That's singular, isn't it? But then it says, آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ, we believe in Allah. We believe in Allah. Now, when somebody says, you would expect him to say, I believe in Allah. Because the singular is used right there, where the alternative in Arabic is available, though man can be used for the plural as well. Here specifically Allah Azza wa Jal highlights that He speaks, this single person is speaking, but he's speaking on behalf of a group. آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ, we believe in Allah. Why? Because Allah is describing the hypocrite, the munafiq. And the munafiq, one of his biggest attempts, the attempt of the hypocrite, is to seem like he is one with the believers. He's from among them. So he puts himself with the group and says, we all have iman in Allah. We're all the same. آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, and in the last day, وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. And then Allah calls them out and says, they are not believers at all. And even in Arabic, again, when you say that someone is not something, there are tons of ways of saying it. But ma, coupled with ba at the end, this is one of the strongest ways to say no. In other words, Allah is saying they are not believers at all. They have no iman at all. You know, there are places in the Qur'an we'll find when Allah talks about the hypocrites, He says, وَمَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. They don't remember Allah except a little bit. Or they have a little bit of iman. But here in this surah, Allah is so harsh towards them, He says they have no iman at all, even though they say that with their tongues. Then He says, يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهِ, they try to deceive Allah. Who's trying to deceive Allah? It is the hypocrites. يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهِ, they're trying to deceive Allah. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and they're trying to deceive those who believe. وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ, but they're not actually deceiving anyone at all except their own selves. With their claims to be true believers and to mingle in with the crowd of the believers, Allah calls this their attempt at deception. What they really are is no different from the other category that was described, those who disbelieve, those who proclaim their disbelief. They're no different as far as Allah is concerned. And when they try to mingle in with the ranks of the believers, Allah Azza wa Jal calls them out as attempting to be spies basically. They're trying to fool Allah, they're trying to fool those who believe, but they're actually not fooling anyone except their own selves. وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ, and they don't even realize. They have no realization. Here it's very important that we make a very critical distinction that all Muslims should be aware of. It's a very basic thing, but sometimes it gets lost in our conversations. There are two basic kinds of hypocrites. There are two basic kinds of hypocrites. Hypocrites that are non-Muslims, but are pretending to be Muslim. You could call that a spy, a double agent, whatever you want to call them, right? These are people that may be sitting in the crowd right now. They have ulterior motives out of munafiq. But then there's a second kind of munafiq, it's even more dangerous and more scary. You know which kind of munafiq that is? The hypocrite who doesn't even know that he or she is a hypocrite. They don't even know. They don't even realize it. They actually think they're good Muslims. They think so. And this could be any one of us. This second category is more scary because it could apply to any one of us. And this idea was so scary even to the Sahaba. Among the Sahaba are people like Umar bin al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, who's guaranteed paradise. But when the names of the hypocrites, it is known that there are certain people that Allah has told the messenger, these are munafiqun. He's worried, is my name in that list or not? You know, he's worried because he understands that there are two different kinds of munafiq. There's the spy, who knows he's non-Muslim, and there's the one who doesn't even realize. At the end of this ayah, Allah gives us a clue into the second kind of munafiq. They don't even realize it themselves. وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. They have no realization. They have no realization. But then how will someone know how will you and I know, first of all, if we are suffering from this disease? And now we will learn in this surah, Allah Azza wa Jalla says very next words, فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٍ. In their hearts there is a disease. Hypocrisy is a disease. Now if you are sick and I am sick, how are we supposed to know if we're sick unless we know the symptoms? Isn't that true? So the only way to know if you and I have the sickness is to look for The symptoms. Now this surah will give us some symptoms, other surahs will give us even more symptoms. So we should constantly be on the lookout for these things inside of us. When there's a serious disease out in society, like the bird flu or whatever, right, swine flu, you take any farm animal, put a flu next to it, and you come out with a new one, right? So when you do that, and they announce on the news that, if you're sneezing too much, or if you notice a little, redness in your skin or something, go see a physician, you might have a fatal disease or whatever. People start showing up to the doctor even if they're not sick. I think it's a flu. I think I have swine flu. I was scratching myself and it got red. I better go to the ER or something. Because they're terrified this might be that disease. Well, if the Muslim understands that hypocrisy, nifaq, is a serious disease, then they should be looking for those symptoms. And even if they find the slightest sign of that symptom, immediately try to address it. You understand what I'm saying? So when Allah says, فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ, in their hearts there's a disease. This is a heart disease. Seriously, a heart disease. A fatal disease. فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا, then Allah increased them in their disease. May Allah not make us from these unfortunate people. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ, and they especially have painful punishment. For disbelievers, Allah said they have great punishment. But then Allah took a step further for hypocrites. He said they have painful punishment. Alam is the meaning of pain. And alim means constantly painful. You know something about pain? If you speak to people who are suffering from a disease that causes them pain, they develop tolerance for that pain. So their tolerance goes up. In other words, if you're suffering the same way every day, the first day it's a lot more painful, the next day it's painful but not as painful as the day before. By Allah using the word alim, it means the pain is the same all the time. It doesn't go down. They don't develop any tolerance to this pain. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. In other words, this punishment is worse than even the punishment mentioned for the kuffar. Even worse than them. Subhanallah. This is the punishment of the munafiq. And when we study Qur'an, we'll see when Allah talks about the punishments of munafiqun, He's the harshest. Even more harsh than He is towards kuffar. Even though He's harsh towards them. Saying they have a great punishment is a terrible thing in and of itself. But He takes the next step with munafiqun. May Allah not make us from them. And understand that this surah, one of the things that's special about Surah Al-Baqarah, it deals with matters of the heart in great detail. It deals with matters of iman. And by contrast, you will find in Surah Al-Imran, in the next surah, there will be a lot of mention of Islam. So there's iman here and then Islam reading. فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ. In their hearts, especially in their hearts, there's a disease. فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا. Then Allah increased them in their disease. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. And for them especially, there is painful punishment, greatly painful punishment. Unlike the kuffar, He didn't end here. He said, بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْذِبُونَ. Because of the lies they continue to make. Because of the lies they continue to make. The first symptom of the hypocrite has been given, which is what? They're liars. And they lie continuously. بِمَا يَكْذِبُونَ is different, بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْذِبُونَ is different. They continuously used to lie. This is istimrar here, right? So this is something that's a very serious sign of hypocrisy. No lie is too small. No lie is a white lie. We have to look for them. We have to be conscious of them in our daily affairs.